In fact, I could almost say there's a diffused point and an active point of every dimension. It's kind of an idea to play with. With the head, with mind, we've got quiet. Then the refined point is clarity, discernment, precision. With the heart, we've got resting as the pure light in the space beyond existence, which does feel like light energy. And then its narrow movement is expansion, which is what we discussed yesterday. And then with the earth, we've got deep drop, deep rest, deeper, 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 with the goal, if you can call it a goal, of deepening the rest of your consciousness, deeper and deeper and deeper. And then the active quality of that is your authentic individuality, your true creativity. When your consciousness is most deeply rested into your body, what that feels like and looks like and expresses, which is something very different from how most people are moving with their consciousness in their body, which is to say the body is very contracted, there's a lot of pain, there's many layers of like the feminine closed up, like she's with all the abuse that's happened. And then the consciousness as the masculine, as a result, is very rigid, tight, scattered, right? All of the ways we can see globally. So that's the egoic state, right? That's the contracted and dissociated consciousness. So when we start talking about creation and creativity, a way we can start to think of it is a little like the matrix. And the actual root of the word matrix is, I think it's womb, actually. And it's connected to matter and mother and womb, and all those words are kind of tied into the etymology of this word. And so, in a sense, we don't actually, planetarily speaking, exist in alignment, in harmony with the authentic matrix, which is nature. Okay, so if nature was free and operating without interference, it naturally works with itself in relationship, the ecology, the balance, the whole thing moves. So that we could call that the truth matrix in a way. But what we have instead is a control matrix, we could call it, and this is nicely reflected within the Matrix trilogy, we can even say, right? Because they're in a simulation, the films I mean, they're in a simulated reality, which is based on control and, dishonesty, slavery, a lack of freedom, unconsciousness. So there's no masculine in terms of clarity or understanding, accurate consciousness, and no one is moving in a world that's real. And so what we see in the world out there is that it is just a reflection of the fact that we've created from the non-reality or from the disconnection of our own reality. And you all know this already, because to the degree that you have been disconnected from your body space, which is to say disconnected from the earth, from your guidance system, from that which is designed to interface with reality. If you've been disconnected from that, that is always the place from which you get yourself into trouble. You don't listen to yourself. You dissociate from your natural instincts or your internal compass. You put yourself in not aligned situations, not aligned people. And so without the will to connect to the body, it's as James was saying, consciousness on its own can't really go anywhere. I mean, what's the point of having a body? Do you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say that mechanically what this can look like is when consciousness comes in, when the masculine, let's just say the masculine comes into these deeper feelings within the body and actually discovers what's actually under them. That's what I'm saying when I'm referring to like the core or the origin. Those deeper qualities of the feminine actually come back through the body. And so I use the word, basically the two-way channel. But those qualities flow back into the body and they actually have an effect on transforming the psyche as well. And the body can go through a massive change through this. So just to mechanically display it a little bit.
And this is the power of belly work, of course. And there are people who are experts in specifically belly work and womb work. And I know some people who are in that kind of work who worked in other areas of healing and consciousness. And when they started working with the belly and the womb, they tossed the rest of it. Because we're going right to the root, right to the foundations. It doesn't mean it has to go that way, of course, because, when we're in the embrace of truth, there are many angles through which we're unpacking and rewiring consciousness, and they all serve a purpose. But it is also true to say that when we start getting right to the core here, this is the complete rewiring of your very foundation.
It's taking out the false building blocks and actually allowing the real energy of the earth to come through the body, and then new building blocks happen on top of that.
And this is also why if people open up the feminine energy before they've developed a degree of commitment and dedication and honesty and precision with their consciousness, it can be a little dangerous because people start shuffling, they start moving those root blocks, but they haven't properly dismantled the on top structures. Not that you necessarily need to, but if you've got no experience doing, emotional work, investigation, discerning what is a feeling, what's a secondary thought versus what's the actual feeling, all of this, then that can be a little chaotic for people. And that's, of course, what happens when you hear these freaky stories about people forcing Kundalini to open, which is pretty stupid, but people do it. When they they're trying to get power or something, right? Rather than knowing that the body delivers you that experience when it's ready, But if they start chasing those experiences before they've cultivated a proper selflessness through your heart, proper discernment, a proper dedication, proper humility. And so what happens is they go right to the root, they smash open that energy, and then they haven't dealt with all these other substructures and fragmented parts of their psyche. And so all that life energy, the root energy, just bleeds into those structures which haven't properly been dismantled. There hasn't been a proper emptying out of the system. Yeah? And so that person, that's the psychosis. Yeah? When basically people blast open the unconscious. Okay, and so of course that happens because we're dealing with the dense energy of the mother. His light energy. You come into that heart, that fire. It's beyond matter and coming into matter. But when we're dealing with her, she is the root of all existence. And naturally, we've been very culturally very much dismissive of matter, with even most people not seeing the divinity within matter, which is quite insane actually when you think about it, because the process of coming into existence, which is that the mother role, is insanely brilliant, complex, the dance of the planets and the galaxies and the ecosystems and right down to the subatomic level. It's just infinitely coloured. So, if we work with the feminine energy without consciousness, it can be chaotic, or at the very least we don't know what we're doing because we don't have the maturation. Just throwing energy around or letting anything in our system react and go in any direction. That's not very useless. Oh, that's not very useful, rather. And then if we're just with the masculine, we don't have the source code of nature. We don't have the building blocks. Pure consciousness is beautiful, but it's formless. So it needs to get into form to create.